taken down. So I'm like, damn it, now I gotta go to Spotify.
Yeah, I
I,
did. I got it on
I
Spotify.
like being able to do everything in the same app. Even when like all my podcasts, I listen to you on YouTube. Somebody uploads it, I do it that way. Like unless I know it's going to benefit
Mm.
the content creator themselves, then I won't go out of my way. You know, if it's not going
Yeah,
to help them, like obviously Joe Rogan getting an extra listen on Spotify, that's not going to make a
we
difference.
need. We're so programmed for YouTube now, and it's been that way for a while. Even 10 years ago,
Especially,
I'd be like, dude, upload your thing to YouTube too, because everybody listens on there. It's either, there's a lot of people that are geared into, wherever they get their podcasts. So like, that's that does exist. Like, there are a lot of people who go on to their whatever the podcast app is to get their podcast every day. But obviously there's more people on YouTube, but so there's a little area for that. But when you do, the reason why the Rogan thing is so different is because it's exclusive now to Spotify only. So if you're not, that's like if Stitcher, like, oh, I'm exclusive to Stitcher only. And it's like, okay, yeah, there's a small group of people that go to Stitcher only, but pretty much if something's done on Stitcher, people will listen through their iTunes or Spotify, or is there another one? Maybe the TuneIn app. I don't know. After that,
um,
Google. I mean, I think the biggest ones are iTunes and Spotify, right? There's nothing.
Spotify,
So,
those are
but
the two.
but just picking Spotify eliminates a whole half an audience already. So, and then that eliminates all the people from YouTube. So, it's forcing everyone to funnel into the brand, your brand specifically, which is gonna, I would assume that they would only convert 15% or less, which is crazy. So you think about the fact that there is, you know, somewhere between 500,000 to 5 million people likely to tune into a Joe Rogan podcast. 500,000 to 5 million. Well, I'm assuming that now the low end on Spotify is probably 80,000, and then the high end on Spotify is probably 2
In the millions.
million
Yeah,
or a
gotta be.
million. So you've definitely seemingly absolutely eliminated 3 million people from listening on Spotify. And then you've probably, if it's not a very good episode or if it's a smaller episode, who I really feel bad for are the guests on the Joe Rogan show.
Yeah, because they used to get so much more
Whoa.
publicity, attention,
Yes.
and especially when it was a duo effect. Like I wish it was just delayed to come to YouTube. Like Spotify had, a timed exclusivity, and just
Well,
have it delayed a week. I'd be fine with that.
if
But
you're a smaller YouTuber, right? Like, because he's had smaller YouTubers on,
he's done a lot for people that are far less than him. Comedians, YouTubers, fighters. He's gotten people that have had one amateur fight that he thought had promise and got him into the UFC through getting on the show. I mean, there's a lot that he's done for people.
Yeah, say he finds me and he goes, "Yo, I think this show is crazy" and stuff like that. How'd you come up with this? And I was on the show. I'd be less excited now because I'd be like, "Oh fuck yeah, I'm gonna be on Rogan." But Spotify, there's probably only like 500,000 people that are gonna listen to it. They're gonna be like, "Who's Joe
I guess it's
Cronin?"
got an audience on Spotify. I mean, it had to be something worthwhile for them to pay all this money, but it can't be as much as it was on YouTube, or at least especially when they had the dual uploads going on between Spotify and YouTube, because people were double dipping, and then
Mhm.
must have been really making money at that point.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, it was once in a while I would turn on Spotify and listen there instead. It was rare, but I would do it. And part of why I would do it is if I was listening to music on Spotify, and I was like, oh, okay, I've had enough music. I think I want to listen. Oh, you know what? I want to listen to Rogan. I would just look it up on Spotify. So I would listen, but now all those times where you're like, where's the next Rogan episode? And you're like, oh yeah, I'm not getting that in my sub box. And yeah, I'll get the reminders of the teases that they put out. So those are kind of good. And they do make you go, oh, I want to hear the whole episode.
Now, this article from Bloomberg Business Week, I do trust them, and it's from January 12th. I do, they're pretty straightforward. They're not mostly opinion based. They go a lot with facts. And Bloomberg here, the article is written by Lucas Shaw. It says Spotify bets big on podcasts as a path to profitability. And they say right here that Joe Rogan is their top podcast in over 15 global markets.
Yeah, there's not going to be anything bigger than Rogan's podcast on Spotify.
But I'm trying to find exact numbers for his audience, and I don't see yet a breakdown on that. But it was definitely, I mean, their stocks themselves rose 10% just on day one that his deal was announced. So I mean, Rogan's definitely beneficial for
just
them.
Do the law of averages. That's all you got to do. All you got to do is the law of averages. Like what's 5,000 times 3%?
It talks about Joe Rogan getting ripped off because it says it's shrinking his audience. So, like you said, it seems to be.
Listen, it's like 3,000. What is it? 3,000 times 3% is 90. So it's usually 3 to 5%. So we'll say 5%, right? Like so right now on my YouTube channel, I have about 6,000 active listeners. I have 69,000 subscribers, but most of them are dead. So I have 6,000 people that actively still listen. Take 6,000 times 5%, you get 300. 6,000 times 5% is 300. 300 is how many patrons I have. And it's roughly the amount of people that will tip from here or there. So,
and this already says, just from surveys, they've seen that he lost a big chunk of his audience, and the ratings as of December 29th fell drastically compared to previous shows of Rogan. So it already, it initially got its biggest views.
Here's the answer.
He had for that show, he had what? Miley Cyrus, and then didn't he have Alex Jones again? And...
Yeah, look, here's the answer. A Miley Cyrus or an Alex Jones is going to be like 3 to 5 million people usually listening to that, right? At least.
A big name, but that's not the common people he gets.
Right. So if you go to the common people, so say Rogan, if you go and do the numbers, the average Rogan podcast does about 1.5 million views, right, on YouTube. Sometimes he does 3, sometimes he does 5, sometimes he does 800,000. But the average is about 1.5 million views. Go look up his numbers, you'll probably come to that. Or maybe it's a little higher, but it's close to that. That translates, looking at the law of averages, which is, this is a known law, this is a known number. Pretty much 5% of people will follow you usually to something if you like push it. Right? So that's 75,000 people. So that means when Rogan does an interview with Jack Jones, the scientific researcher for something labs who wrote a book on something, chances are somewhere between 75 and 150,000 people will hear it. So on a regular, like, the guy might have a little following, but on an unknown, a fairly unknown guest episode, you're looking at 75,000 to 150,000, maybe 200,000 people are listening to that on Spotify, when normally it would have gotten 1 million views. So that's so sad for the person. Like if he called up and said, "Hey, Joe Cronin, I like you. I just heard about you. Something. Want to be on the show?" And I was like, "Oh shit, dude! Joe Rogan asked me to be on a show." If that was 2 years ago, I would have flipped out through the roof. I'd be like, "Oh my god, dude! I'm gonna be on an episode with Joe Rogan that's gonna get over 1 million views. 1 million people are gonna get to know who I am." But now, if you're like, "Oh no, I'm going to be on Joe Rogan's show," but they're going to say Joe Rogan interviews Joe Cronin. I mean, the only reason why actually that could actually work is because people will be like, "Wait, Joe Rogan's going to interview himself? Oh no, wait, Joe Cronin? Wait a minute." And the intrigue of that may actually spark people. But pretend my name is Bob Jones, and he's having Bob Jones on, who apparently wrote a book on dog sex. It's like, you could, before you would have heard that on YouTube, even though you didn't care, and you would have found it interesting by accident. But now you have to make the decision to go over to Spotify, and only those heavy core, like, I love Rogan every day people are going to listen, which is 75,000 to 300,000 people. And
ones
it's like,
that are diehards that listen
yes,
to
you
anything.
Just got gypped out on 700,000 to 800,000 views. you lost that. So if you're a guest, man, you're bummed out. And especially if you're booking, right? Like a lot of people want to like if you're a somewhat bigger person or somewhat celebrity, or you're kind of you're in the whole Hollywood stuff or whatever, your people are calling Rogan all the time. Like, hey, we got our client he wrote 5 books on this and he really wants to be on the show. Like, okay, yeah.
Especially DMT, and then Joe's like, oh, excellent, get him on. Yeah, they find things that he either is interested in or could be fascinated by, so they can hopefully spark this conversation. I'm happy that they gave The Undertaker so much time. I mean, it's almost a 3-hour episode.
Yeah, it's great, and it's going to be so much more to listen to. But, I mean, just looking at the numbers, it is just an interesting
with Rogan. That's why I enjoy when he does get a good guest, because he can get so much out of them usually. That's why he has this powerful tool in this unique medium. And him being, such a power magnet on Spotify gives hope that a lot of other podcasters could turn this into a full-on living, as lucrative as what he's been offered.
See, what he should have done, though, Jake, is they should have known the wrestling audience would love this, and maybe some people don't listen to Rogan. They should have put 2 hours up on YouTube, and then in the 3rd hour, Rogan should have looked at the camera and been like, hey, guys, it's been a great podcast here with Mark Calloway, The Undertaker from WWE. We actually did another hour, and the full hour is included in the full 3-hour episode, which is on Spotify right now. So if you guys want to check out the 3rd hour that's not on YouTube, check out Spotify. Like, that would have been a great idea.
So many more views, because people would want to see the 3rd hour because they love the first 2 hours, and then the people that didn't know that there's more on Spotify or that he's even on Spotify get to go ahead and take advantage of that, and he gets the views of people that just won't go to Spotify at all or that only use YouTube. So it's win-win-win.
Hey, comedian Tim Dillon, I really loved him. His joke, his joke about the cereal being sponsored by the cops and that he used to eat people and kill people, it was like a spontaneous joke. That killed me. He got banned from Airbnb recently because I thought it was because of his comedy stuff. I thought he was like in trouble for being, because he's not right-wing, he's like independent, but he was called right-wing or whatever. I thought it was for that, and it's not. It's that I guess, like, dude, he went to an Airbnb. He got in there and said that shit didn't look very good anyway, and they blamed him for it afterwards. And I guess in the back and forth of their little squabble, one of the things he sent her back was a picture of the Simpsons house when it was on fire, and he said, it'd be a shame if your place caught on fire. And that's what got him banned on Airbnb.
Well, I get why, but it's
I was like, oh, that's a little harder to defend. I mean, the girl's a bitch and an asshole. Like, the people there were assholes. But, I was like, oh my God. He's like, I didn't say I was going to set their house on fire. I just said it would be a shame if your house caught fire. I'm not going to do it. I don't hope it happens.
I just don't want it to. It would be a terrible thing. That's all I said. I always enjoy his Twitter.
He's gay too. His Twitter's great.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's like, wait, Trump lost? That tweet killed me yesterday.
Yeah, that was. I almost retweeted that, and I didn't do it, but I was like, I was gonna retweet that one. That was really funny.
Because I'm a huge Legion of Skanks fan, and anytime he's on there, it's like an instant hit.
I didn't even know about that, but I'm so happy I found him. Just one of the best. He's like built the way I felt about Bill Burr in 2009. Like, I feel about him now. He's just my type of he's my type of fucked up comedy. Like, he's my type of thing. Like, if I could ever get on a show with him, like, I feel like we would be arrested when it was over. Like, it would.
Capital stuff was going on. He's like, I hope there's some fun QAnon meetups and someone gets laid. I hope there's some low level networking. I mean, I can hope something comes out of that. I met your mother at the Capitol, actually.
Dude, he's the type of guy where you sit down and you just start saying things, and someone says something fucked up, so then the other guy says something more fucked up just to fuck around, and then the other guy keeps it going by saying something more fucked up, and then by the end of it, you're like, I'm gonna kill people, and here's how I'm gonna do it, and here's the bill, and like, I mean, like, you're just saying it to make each other laugh because it's so over the top, and then like you get arrested later because like people take it for real, and I gotta pee really badly. I'll be right back. I don't remember where we were, but we could probably move on to something else. Like, listen to the Jake and Joe podcast exclusively on patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show. Over 1 hour to 2 hours weekly. on the Patreon. Continue listening to this episode. Click the link down below, patreon.com/Joe Gronin Show.